Greetings, everyone. Decoding the science of modern science and coding its managerial implications for sustainability. Hello, I'm Vipin Gupta, Professor of Management and Co-Director, Center for Global Management at California State University, San Bernardino. The outline for my talk today: first, motivating a fresh perspective on science. Second, recoding science as a theory of creature. Third, decoding the three foundations of modern science: relativity, quantum science, and quantum relativity. And finally, coding the managerial implications of reality for the sustainability of the creature. Let's start with the first one: why there's a need for looking at science from a fresh perspective. Let's understand science as the memory within a creature of what works for realizing the goal. The work culture of creation is not necessarily codified as physical science. The creation needs to live the culture that works as a creature to master the metaphysics of creator. Science is a theory of creature that lets a creation be the creator. Science is not a creature's discovery. The creature only recodes what the nature has already coded as a reality for its reproduction. The reproduction positions the creature above the nature, giving momentum to the creature's supernatural force that generates an illusion of one as a supernatural with the power of mastery over nature. During the 2020s, nature has proven to the whole universe her might to confine even the supermasters until they master the science of how to live in harmony with the nature for their sustainability. Now, how we can recode science as a theory of creature. What is science? Science is a quest to realize reality of nature that makes one real. To realize the nature's reality, let's assume time is the one descending from its negative infinity into the space's positive infinity, universalize its value with the formative growth of the universe, which comes second. Thus, time forms a horizontal sequence of ones, where one is time's leader spirit, leading itself to reality. Universe is two, following with a forward sequence of twos as it universalizes itself for realizing the goal of time as a goalkeeper. This assumption implies leader is zero, the devil, leading the time as one who works like a deity, but deifying its holy leader spirit to be the leader, king of deity. Thus, zero is time's eventual state, forming a horizontal sequence of zeros after realizing its reality as a goalkeeper. The reality is the goalkeeper. The goal is goalkeeper plus two. The goal is to create the universe that allows goalkeeper to realize the reality. In this picture, you can see the devil observing the Holy Spirit form the universe as two for realizing the goalkeeper's goal. This assumption is true if goalkeeper, goal, time, and universe are present within the consciousness of nature as mother before time begins descending the fourth. That is, goalkeeper, goal, time, and universe, by opening the space as a fifth dimension for realizing the goal of its past so that it could be its future. Thus, four is consciousness, forming a descending sequence of fours as mother. The goal is past. The time's eventual state is future, the zero. The fifth dimension is within dimension of time as a goalkeeper, which makes space with its perpetuating value. And the fifth dimension, therefore, is the goalkeeper that invades the space. The assumption is false if the space is the fifth in the ascending sequence of five. Why? Because five must be repeated as a time's perpetuating value for space to be illuminated as two after the time's entropy. In other words, five is perpetuating value like that of God, who perpetuates growth through the endoproduction of the Holy Spirit, perpetuable as a causation. Five is God, which is also entropy of time, as the father multiplying the mother's reality, leading to an order illuminated as two. One is equal to endoproduction, that is the Maya, the illusionary production of the past, perpetuable as causation, the Hetu. The two is to order. The time multiplier is 5 minus 2, that is 3. So entropy of 3, that is a time multiplier, leads one, the deity, the Holy Spirit, to order the universe, the Brahman, with 4, the consciousness, the Chetna of reality, the Vastvitta, the Artha. Therefore, let's propose a thesis. If time multiplier is behaving like father to make father 3, then the reality of grandmother, that is the mother plus father, is 4 plus 3, the 7. That is the reality is 7. The reality is realizable with a whole sequence of 3s that eventually leads to mother within the causation that causes the 3 to be the father. The cause is grandmother, the potential within the causation to be the future of everybody. That grandmother is Shani. The potential is Om. The cause is Karan. The reality, the Artha, is the goalkeeper, Shiva. The time's illuminating value, Narada, 7. Goal, Mahashiv, is the past, Bhuta, that perpetuates the time like a thing, Vastu, to make the causation real with its energy, Shakti. Real is perpetuate the thing, 7 plus 2, that's 9, because the goal is the goalkeeper plus 2, the universe. The energy is the causation that becomes real, that is, the one that becomes real at 9, 19. The thesis that the energy is 19 is falsifiable with an antithesis. Antithesis is the potential within the thesis to be falsifiable. Therefore, antithesis is equipotential thesis. By same logic, antimatter is potential matter. Since energy derives from the assumption I made for you to substantiate with the substance of reality within your consciousness, energy is assumption 19. Since the potential for assumption is omnipresent within a person as the causation, potential is 19 minus 1, that is 18. The person is a substance, substantiating the causation as a planning person, the ideal Adarsha for planning the future of everybody with his potential. The person is substance, planning person, ideal, substantiating the theory effect with its ideal effect, Dasha 1, and theory effect is Mahadasha. So minus 1 is equal to negative infinity of time as the past of everybody, Mahashunya, that forms a wholesome sequence of negative 1, mediated by 0, 1 with a consciousness of 5, God. A person behaving like a deity to be God, perpetuating value of the creation after his entropy, as you can see in this photograph. You may substantiate both the thesis and the antithesis with a synthesis of the theory of creature. Synthesis is a true thesis that makes a theory whole for the realization of the reality with the goal. Synthesis is whole, realization, 7 plus 9, goal plus goalkeeper, that's 16. The true synthesis is the present thesis as the half thesis with the consciousness of the realization that it is not wholesome until it is true for both you and me. True synthesis is imaginary until you make it real. True synthesis, the spirit of the truth, the soul of reality plus realization of the soul as real, that is 4 plus 16, that's 20. Present reality of the true synthesis as a potential to be realized is equal to 18 minus 20, that's minus 2, forming a wholesome sequence of minus 2, leading the whole without you and me, because you and me are 1 each, and without you and me, that's minus 2. Imaginary must be a photon for you to substantiate without I superpositions the photon as a space's spirit that gives birth to me as its Holy Spirit, or the space's light. You must discern for knowing the reality of why 1 became 2 to be a creature with an I shared by both you and me. I, therefore, is a creature, the quantum photon, the photon superpositioned over the light, the 1 that became 2, that's 12. Synthesis is the 4 reproduced as a whole of 16, so synthesis becomes 16. Competing theory of nature. 6 is the unit that makes the time multiplier of 3 universal within the universe of 2 with a unit sequence of 6 for its growth as 6. Growth, therefore, is a unit which is unit sequence which is equal to 6. 1 becomes 2 because 2 is within 6's nature for realizing the reality as 1 because realization is equal to 16 and reality is 7. So 2 plus 6 is equal to 8. 8 is nature. In modern science, a cell divides itself into 2 daughter cells which divide themselves into 4 daughter cells. Cell enjoys a growth of 6. That's a natural growth. Complementary theory of observer. The idealizer is a 0 who globalizes the reality as 1 within nature to localize 2 without nature. Nature is 8, so 2 without nature is minus 6. Localizable as a dimensionless scale factor. It is the universe of technological reality that universalizes the past. That is the technological reality of minus 3. Once you localize, you need to globalize. That's the scaling. Scaling is dimensionless scale over the past, present, and future. Create the dimensions. 2 without nature lets the observer, the 0, observe the growth within nature, that is 6 within 8. With the theory effect of a theory, 128, because creature is a 12. Theory is the creature who is present of everybody, and the present of everybody eventually is the nature. Next, decoding the 3 foundations of modern science. First, relativity is the supplementary theory of everything. It supplements the absolutism of the complementary theory and the potentialism of the competing theory. According to relativity, by moving forward in time, one realizes that at a macroscopic level, 1 is all. The all that brings everything into being over its lifetime, guided by the light of the past, whose dark energy follows the present into perpetuity and generates asymmetry. As you move forward in time, more and more things get created, and therefore, over time, you become large, macro. Relativity is about macro, relative to the present. 1 is a photon, according to relativity theory, that norms all with 6 quarks, that is with 100,000, because among the 6 quarks, 1 is essentially a photon that has become a quark. One's primordialism as a front runner is relative because it is also essentially a 0. Zero is a cosmological constant, according to relativity, embodying the dark energy of the past. Zero is not the potential cosmological constant, embodying the light energy of the future that attracts growth of reality within one, whose nature is to be zero eventually. Relativity is derived from the idea that zero is the origin of everything. There is a unanimity among the modern scientists that India is the origin of zero. Indian sages had the intuition that one becomes zero and therefore intuited 10 as the base of reality. Without consciousness of reality, Eastern civilizations conceived 6 as the base, still used by New Guinea near Australia to count yam. Chinese yam has a maturity of 6 months, unlike other yam species that mature in 7 to 12 months. With consciousness of twin reality, Western civilizations, ancient Babylon, perceived 60 to be the base. Both the Eastern ideal of 6 and the Western theory of 60 had become the vestiges of the past, whose reality could not be substantiated by the future generations as true. The quantum mechanics is a metaphysical idea. It's not a theory. It's a metaphysical idea that one enjoys a superposition because it is the universe that universalizes itself to illuminate zero's position as its present. According to quantum mechanics, by moving backward in time, one realizes that at a microscopic level, so once you move backward in time, it becomes micro, the origin. The universe is one that brings a being into existence for becoming all within its entire existence through symmetry. While the relativity focuses on asymmetry, quantum mechanics is about symmetry. Universe forms everything to norm all, which transforms into matter at the speed of someone's light, who brings a zero into existence as one, before universalizing itself as -1, the entire existence, whose identity remains unknown as a cause of immutable uncertainty. Universe expands horizontally as zero and light until it becomes vertical and heavy, like one, and dark after adding infinity and diagonal, like a potential one after subtracting infinity. The potential one and the one are the same, even though the potential one is -1 and the zero is the light. The asymmetry is an illusion, which is essentially a zero, darkening the entire one with its energy conserved after one stops reproducing itself. That is, potential one is not a -1 that becomes one after it forms the universe as a two, seeking identity with nature through growth of reality. -1, according to quantum mechanics, is a cosmological constant which embodies the dark energy of the future, yet to be illuminated, whose energy is present as a unit of light, that is photon, the ball that adds infinity to be 1, subtracts infinity to be potential 1. It is not dark energy of the past, descending over time. The quantum mechanics is derived from the Western metaphysics that the zero is a devil who hides its position so that it may follow the Satan, the -1, who takes a lead as the Holy Spirit 1, because the 3 are the eyes of the Father looking for 2, the absolute Son, with a twin identity of Father and Mother, to reveal their truth as God, 6, with a symmetry of 3 and a potential 3. Indian wisdom, predating the Western metaphysics, identifies the devil as Sur, within God, concordant with the future, unfolding with time, and therefore zero at present. The Satan as Asura, without God, discordant force of the past, and therefore -1 at present. The Holy Spirit as Trinetra, the guider spirit, the reproductive spirit with 3 eyes, whose spirit is reproductive because it embodies I am a deity consciousness to make one a deity. The Father as the absolute Son Hanuman, the Mother as the consciousness, the Atma, the soul of the absolute daughter Jiva, who leads one's growth for realizing the reality of the absolute deity Shiva, the goalkeeper, to be whole, Akala, with God. Okay, so the whole is growth within 10, that is 6 within 10, so the whole becomes 16, where the 10 is the living God, Shri Krishna. The masculinity within Indian wisdom has made Middle East, with its reputation of a trader since ancient times, the least gender egalitarian cultural region in the world today. The dynamic reality is a reflection within one of the reality to produce a universe related through the mediation of the present. With its position, the present gives superposition to the future for taking the momentum away from the past. The past is without one who is present for reproducing it while moving as time. The Kal, the time, is within the space, Asita, entangled through the endo-reproduction, Maya, of a proportion traded from the past. The proportion related to the future when multiplied into infinite, Tamas, which is dark, and serviced as the matter that makes the finite reproductive as its present. According to quantum relativity, by moving horizontally along time, one realizes that at a meso-cosmic level, universe is everything, sarvam. One has produced to mediate like God, Ishvara, all that gets created within the space by time. Everything has a position. Universe has a superposition. It is on the top of everything. Universe is absolutism, entangles everything. 2 is the cosmological constant, not the absolute cosmological constant, which embodies the heavy energy of the present and lightens over time to the reproductive element, the guide element, or the gravitational element, to illuminate the great attractor as the disproportion of the space's light from the future. So if you look at this picture, the great attractor of the descending sound of the past, reproducing the ascending sound of the future to add forward momentum to the horizontal sound of the present with its backward position. And that's Trishula of Shiva. Universe's strong force as a macrocosm transforms everything into a nuclear, the horizontal sequence of ones. Everything weak force as a microcosm forms the nuclear as clear from endoproduction from Maya, a backward sequence of zeros. Nuclear's electromagnetic force as a mesocosm norms nu, the endo-reproduction, the Maya, as a forward sequence of twos. Sequence's gravitational force as a mass cosm points to a 4 as the origin of 2, 1, and 0 as proportions of a digit. Sequence's consequence, the descending sequence of 4, suggests a fifth force that accounts for the uncertainty, because 2 is a 3, because it includes 2, 1, and 0. 1 is a 2, it includes 1 and 0. And 0 is 1, it includes 1 as a digit. The fifth force is the transient force of the fourth that forces the sixth to behave like the fifth after servicing the infinite element, tamas, for the endo-production of 1 as the finite, uttam, that is trading 2 to be the creator, moving forward by sequencing 1, 2, and 0. 1, 2, and 0 is a unicellular organism. The site of division, Shivagati, site of division by 2 into an octave, sargam, of the sound of reproduction. For realizing the eventual state of a 0, the subject, the patra, observing the technological reality, the object of its creation. So the octave is 60 and the object is -3, which is the technological reality, the formative reality, the past reality. The fourth, coding the managerial implications of reality for the sustainability of the creature. Reality is what one realizes with growth. Reality is unknown until one makes it true with the growth of the sentient force. When known, the reality becomes false until someone discovers its truth by living that reality as a sentient entity, conscious of the reality unknown to anyone not living that. For instance, we may believe our leaders are great because they're taking interest in what we are doing, since we are not really doing what they are saying. Else, it will be boring for them to observe us do what they already know. Believing is not reality. The leaders behave like zeros because we become the heroes when they do so, letting them to be superheroes. If we realize the hero within us, then we do not need to rest on the shoulders of the zeros as their invisible hand cycles with our visible leg to retain the heavenly light, pushing us back to sustain our hellish journey, like that of one essentially dead, but bragging like a deity for blessing the devil with a fortune that belongs to one. You are the manager of your life. You do have an option to rest in peace as the agent of sustainability, sustaining the cycle of birth, life, death, and hibernation for self-reflection until the realization of the reality. Don't be the unsustainable victim of quantum entanglement of your future by a leader on the top who wishes you to be present as a creature so that he could be the enjoyer of your past. Let's take a couple of examples. The known reality of the present is electric vehicles will become popular in future. The known reality of the future is when will electric vehicles dominate the market? Who will be the market leader? The known reality of the present is we have a limited lifetime. Unknown reality of the future is how long is our lifetime? The possibility of knowing the unknown reality is the probability that our realization of the truth of known reality is unconditional. If the possibility is not 100%, then the known reality is conditionally true, but unconditionally false. Let's reformulate the known reality. Electric vehicles will become popular in future if the electric vehicle technology continues to improve at the present pace and additional players from diverse nations get involved. We have a limited lifetime. We do not become immortal through the impact we leave on times to come. Now, isn't it self-evident? The previously known reality was unconditionally false. If there is no creature focused on developing electric vehicles at the present pace, then electric vehicles will not become popular in future. If we do not leave an impact that makes us immortal, we'll have a limited time. And conclusion, the previously known reality is unconditionally false, while the previously unknown reality is unconditionally true. Unknown reality becomes unconditionally false when known, unless it is the causation for the realization of the present known reality by living that reality. If a conscious entity, conscious of the possibility, decides to take action for the realization of the possibility, then the probability of that conscious entity realizing the goal is 1. The conscious entity is the previously unknown reality. Thank you.